God may use you to make a medicine for this disease, which is clinical in Europe and China. So with that in mind, we somehow like begin to think that, oh, we should make something for COVID-19. But we do not know much about the COVID virus. And also we don't even know what formula that we have that could work. But somehow as life sometimes leads to certain things. In 2020, two of our staff of pharmacy department, when they came for bury my uncle, they got COVID. And they actually got down with COVID in Barara. And then I gave them this formula which I made for viral infection in the mouse years back before COVID came. And then they improved. Within 3 days, 3 days, they test negative and addition. Professor Tamkong was badly off in Barara medical chambers on Sinjiro Road. When I would go and visit him, take him tea, he would talk like he's about to die. Even one time he collapsed while trying to walk through the bath. But when I gave him that formula of COVID, within 2 days, Islam, which CT scan was sure God getting spoiled to resolve within 2 days, he became negative, was discharged. So that was like a beginning of breakthrough for me. When COVID came, those people recovered. Of course, now in 2021, when COVID is now burst to the market, COVID has made us now very, very popular. That whatever drug linked to Jenna or to Guam would be bought whether it works or does not work. So for me, look at the journey from 2004, beginning research in the laboratory, registered a company in 2006. That company remained silent until 2018. That's almost 12 years of small operations. Even now for 2018 to 2020, yes, we are selling, but we are struggling to penetrate the market because nobody knew us. But we tried to do that. Then by providence, 2021, COVID comes in a serious way. And we had this formula for COVIDX. And somehow it worked. And then we got into the limelight. Now people began calling us for COVIDX and so on. But although COVIDX put us up there, COVID was like a bubble which at one point burst. Why was it a bubble? Because it gave us a lot of money initially. A lot of money because I sold quite a lot. I think I could have made like around 3 billion at that time. Very short time, like 3 billion shillings. And then COVID disappears. And now by that time I'd set up the factory in Luzira where I was renting at a cost of 20 million per month. I was employing workers. The labor cost was around 80 million per month. I was buying materials. I was paying power, all that. So the cost of operation of a company was now no longer for this small group of 5 people or in your kitchen. It was now serious business. It started gaining the resources. But somehow COVID has given us enough resources. So we used to set up the company and then begin like promoting other products. But it was difficult. So in 2022, around October, I almost closed the business because there was no COVID and people only knew COVIDX. Other products were not selling. People did not know them. So I told my team, I know one thing, our sales have dropped. We are going to close. But in our company, we have a spirit of prayer. So it's a spirit we began in my team. So people chose to do different things. Other groups chose that they're going to fast and pray. Other workers said, we're going to leave production and we go to marketing. So they joined marketing, but still things are not working. Then in 2022 January, COVID comes back. When COVID came back to 23 January, the sales head was a wise lady. She decided now we are not going to give out COVID pharmacy unless they also buy together with Jenakov. So she began twinning. You order for COVIDX, buy COVIDX plus Jenakov. She explained that both of them work together and better for COVID. So that's how we began introducing a second product to the market called Jenakov. Eventually, when COVID now went down, Jenakov had picked up to sustain us. So one of the things you learn from here, one, sometimes there is luck or God's providence for what we do. For me, it was surely COVID-19. COVID-19 was a bad disease, but for me, it turned out to be the breakthrough for me. Secondly, it's important to have more than one product in your business. If you have only one product, when the sales level go down, you are at the risk of closing the business. So for us, we had Covidex plus Genacov plus others. But thirdly, it's good to have a wise team. This sales lady was wise. She saw that now that COVID is back and people are calling for Covidex, let's also attach another product to Covidex so that in case COVID goes down, second product is known. And indeed, up to today, what's sustaining our company is Genacov. It gives us almost 60% of our revenue, and we're able to run because that one product introduced to the market became better than Covidex. Covidex demand has gone down, but Genacov demand now is going up. So have more than one product. If chance happens for you to have one product becomes popular, try to introduce a second product alongside it, so that it rides on the popularity of the one that is the one that's demanded, and that's also important. Now, apart from operations of make research, developing a product, and commercializing, the field of business is very complicated for scientists because most times we do not know the terrain of business, and also dealing with workers is not easy. There are workers who like stealing, there are workers who can do anything. So all that can contribute to the collapse of the company. And so you need to be really very, very organized. But one of the things that I've found in my experience is that one, try to have a mixture of workers. Have those who are close to you, your friends, and also have those who are not your friends in the company. Your friends or your relatives should also be there, but not so many. Because your relatives will tell you exactly when things are going wrong, while the others may not tell you openly because they're not close to you. But again, if you only have your relatives, they may also mess up the company. So you need a balance of both those who are close to you, a relative. So I have like my in-laws, my few of my brothers. They will tell me the truth about the company. Then also have others who are not as tight. But also the other thing I did was that I tried to employ people I knew, my students, my friends, whom I knew were trustworthy. And that has played a very big role in keeping the company growing and facing all the difficult times. Now, our sales did not, much as now we could sustain the company from our sales without borrowing money from anybody, we are not making profits because what we will sell would basically go for rent, salaries, and so on. So at one point we said, let us get a national distributor. So for us to do production, and this person distributes markets for us. So we got a Ugandan company to do that, but they did not succeed. Instead, they created for us debts. They took our products, gave us some money, and failed to pay others. So the sales did not improve. Then in January, I think that then like 2023, when the other company exited, and I became sick physically, I decided to hire a CEO so that I could have time for my life and rest. So when I hired the CEO, that CEO had been our consultant in setting up the factory in New Zealand. And so when I asked for that, whom can we employ as a CEO, they recommended him because he had done a good work in building our quality systems, quality management systems. So when I employed my CEO, I learned that he had promised us a lot of sales, but things were not working for him also. And then there were also some mistakes he was doing. So I decided at that time to fire him. But by the time I fired him, he had gotten an idea of talking to an Indian company to distribute our products. When I fired him, he never stopped pushing for contracting the Indian company to market our products. Eventually, actually succeeded. He told me, Professor, you have fired me, but I'll make sure I complete this deal to ensure that MedWorld, so go to a company called MedWorld, can accept to distribute our products. Now, because of that heart he had, that attitude, and even though Professor has fired me, I had begun engaging MedWorld. Let me continue engage MedWorld so that this company can have their products distributed in Uganda. And indeed, that marked a very big turning point for us. MedWorld accepted to distribute our products. And because of them, our products now can be found in any part of Uganda. Now, this will bring us a lesson that every field has key players. The pharmaceutical field is dominated by foreigners. Wholesale pharmacy in Uganda is like 90% foreign investors. So how will you distribute your products to those channels unless you are part of them? So MedWorld coming to promote our products was a very big breakthrough for us to access the Ugandan market in a formal way. Because now you can find our products in Arua, in Kasese, in Chisoro, through their networks, which at first we could not do. But also I learned through this that most Ugandan businessmen are not serious. They will take your product, they will fail the business, and then you collapse. So if possible, collaborate with the foreign investors if they are going to help you market your product. For us, MedWorld came in handy, and by the time they came in, we had what we call receivables. People are taking our goods worth 1 billion shillings, and they are not paying. Imagine operating as a company, you give for products worth 1 billion, and they are not paying you back. Now, what helped us was that the COVID money helped us to cushion that big gap of 1 billion in people's hands, and must continue producing more and continue paying workers. So we had money from COVID, which will help us anchor that huge debt. But when MedWorld came, they began buying our products on cash, and that made a very big difference because they would produce, they advance the money, then they distribute, and that has helped us up to now. We give them the products, then for them they pay us the money, then for them they go and distribute to their networks. So that's also partnership. Right, partnership is very important. And so at one point, I organized a meeting of top management, and I said, okay, this man, Dr. Rajab, made some mistakes, but he has managed to create this link between us and MedWorld, and it's working. What do you people think? Should I bring him back or not? Then almost 80% voted for him to come back. So then he came back. Now, although MedWorld came in to help us and they are doing good work, our sales, yes, did improve, but not to reach. So we began saying, okay, now what do we do to increase our sales? Because in business, there must be certain sales you make every day, every month, for you to have profits and be comfortable. We are still there, not making losses, not making enough profits, but basically surviving, comfortable. So when sales are low during school fees time, then you feel pinch, but otherwise we are doing fairly okay. But that was not that we are looking beyond that. So I tried to consult with people, and someone told me of marketing, a sales warrior. There's a friend of mine who's a sales warrior. You employ him, contract him as a consultant. He's going to make for you sales. So I reached the guy. The guy told me of his experience with Starbucks, with different companies he has worked with, and they have progressed. He gives me a budget, activity, people to recruit. We put in our money, close to 500 million. That was this year in January. We bought cars, like 8 cars, recruit like 20 staff, whom we train, pay them well so they can do great work. After 3 months, sales are where they are, maybe even worse. Now, this man promised us 27 billion in 1 year. But even we are not moved by an inch. So when I called the man, I'm like, now, 3 months have passed, we're not progressing, but we're spending a lot of money. He told me that, no one think, Professor, I did not know that medicine are different from fast consumer goods. Fast consumer goods like Omo, soap, would go to the streets and talk about them. People come and buy. And now with medicine, you cannot go to the street and begin calling, oh, come and COVID-X. You can't do that. And they will come on you. So we realized that maybe it was good at promoting other products, but when it comes to medicine, it was naive. We made that mistake that we thought that so eventually we withdrew from his work, just disappeared. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I cannot continue this work. So he left us in a very big, there was a financial gap of almost 500 million, which we have struggled over the last month to pull back. The good thing we have not borrowed any money, somehow our sales managed to cover it. So now where we are in what I would call now a proper growth phase. So the CEO, when the other guy came out, he decided to also go to the field with the sales team. And he's going to the field help a lot in improving display, in making friendship with poor in pharmacies and drug shops. We are beginning to see an upward trend again in our sales. But it's not where we want it to be. So anyway, there are challenges in the market, as I've already discussed them, and we make mistakes, but we learn from those mistakes. One thing I've found and I confirm is that sales grow systematically. Let no one tell you that, I'm going to increase sales by 10 times. Never. Unless especially like COVID comes, like a pandemic comes. But otherwise, you're going to have 10%, 15%, 25% increment every year. So it requires patience. It requires a plan how to increase the sales. And then it requires also a lot of wisdom how to recruit to handle it. Now, because Gen has become popular, we also receive temptations from investors. So far, we received investors from outside Uganda, like three different investors. I want to invest like $1 million, $2 million in our program, but we avoided those investors. Why? For two reasons. One, our need is not production. We can produce an amount of drugs that we make. Our need is the market. So we tell the investor that if you want to work with us, you buy our drugs and take to the market, maybe outside Uganda, but not to join us in a company for production. Because the second thing that I have seen companies in Uganda that are allowed those investors to join them, but at the end of the day, they are worse than before the investor came in. Because the investor will come in, put in their money, and then they drain the company. They're just doing profits. They will not buy machine, they will not replace things, they will not repair anything. They just suck the money out of the company, and then they leave after 5 years or 3 years when the company was. So if possible, be patient, build your capital little by little, build your capital little by little, and then engage with those so-called investors. Again, also, the other thing that don't rush to automate. Automating, buy this equipment, you're going to get problems because those equipment may come in and you cannot service them, you cannot manage them. Try to use locally made equipment or simple equipment that you can control. That's very important. And also, whenever you change from a manual system to an automated system of equipment, there are changes in the formulation. For example, at first, we would extract coffee using our hands, squeeze using our hands, like a Muslim cloth, then you squeeze and discard the mark. But now there's time when we automated, we made machines to compress the extract and release the liquid. Now, like this is we're using the same material and the same paper material was coming from. Then one day I found out they were not doing one test, which was very important, to quantify total alkaloids. The machine was there, but they're not doing it. They're only testing for organoleptic, smell test, phytochemical analysis, those basic tests. Hey, so when I look backward, I'm like, oh, this thing could have changed the concentration of what? A machine that we had made would extract more water and it will dilute the extract. But because the QC people were not testing for total calorie content or berberine content, we could not realize that the extract was dilute compared to what we were doing before. So it took like almost the market to complain, almost 6 months. We discovered the problem. The problem was that we had automated, we used a machine which now brings out more liquid and they'll produce a dilution. So we need to compensate for that dilution factor by increasing the powder material, so we get the same content that we're getting before. So anyway, the point is that when you change a process, make sure that your quality control is doing the right thing. Otherwise, you may realize later when the market complains, that's very dangerous. So machine from small scale, large scale, watch the quality control of your company. They can let you down when you not know. And then of course the aspect is when now you go into good business, there are challenges of raw materials. How do you ensure that your raw materials are sustainable? One time the president called me, but can we make enough confidence? I told him, Mr. President, there's enough material, don't worry. We can put enough even for the entire world. Because when you're developing a product, at the early stage of product development, first ask yourself, this plant I am using, is it available? Or it's a scarce plant? It might be very effective, but you cannot produce enough material. That's not a good project to go into if you have to commercialize. Now, when I'm developing products, I prioritize plant parts. First, the leaves. If I can make the drug from the leaves, that's okay, because leaves you remove today, tomorrow they are coming. Second is the seeds. Third is the stem bark. Last is the root bark. The root bark is difficult to always multiply quickly. Try to ensure that. But also now we're about land in thousands of like 1,000 acres to plant these raw materials for the future, but also engage other people to help you plant them. Now, there are factors that when you go to the market, never stop doing R&D. Continue doing R&D on your product to improve it. Because other people also come up with products. Like now in Uganda, Kazere is also now making our products. Elokov is making. Bahrain, what now? There are many people who are coming with products for cough. So if you only get stuck with your previous research, you'll be overtaken by the newcomers. So you must keep on researching to improve your products, also to develop new ones, so that you have more portfolios of the different products that can sustain the market. And then also one thing I also realized that competition will always be there. You will get competitors who will come in with better price, sometimes better products, and you must prepare how to handle them. Now, at one point, we found that one of the local producers was going to pharmacies and telling them that this product of mine, you give it in the place of Genakov. We're the same company. So then, this is Ogwang's product. We can substitute this for this. So we discovered that. My team was saying, you know what, let us fight this company. I'm like, no, let's not go in the idea of fighting them. For us, let us make sure that our Genakov is good. It works so well, and people will prefer it. And that's what we did. Made our product good. We know they will give the other one, patient will complain. They give me Genakov. And that's our money to outcompete that person. He came with a bad approach. I was advised to take a bad approach. I said, no, let's go with the ways of doing right. And now eventually our product is leading on the market. So competition will come in. Some will attack you directly to try and fail your business. But how you respond is very important. And then lastly, values. Values are very important for you to succeed in business. Christian values have worked for us. In our company, we pray every morning with the staff who are there. We treat everyone like we have every week message we share from the Bible. We treat everyone as a member of the family. So the workers are motivated. There's only anyone who wants to betray the company because of that value of oneness, family. One time we got a worker was injured by thugs. We paid his medical bills. We paid him salary while he was not working until he came back. So we bear those extra costs so we can create this environment or these values in our company, in our staff, that they can sacrifice for us as a company. Anyway, so Professor Joel, let me end here for today. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Hey, 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 hey. A round of applause, please, for Professor Guang. These are very, very, very great insights, and I'm glad that we have recorded, and we're going to send this to our social media pages. We'll do some editing and put them onto our YouTube and our other channels. And as you had said, Professor Guang, I think this is a whole book, really. And I think you need to write it, and it could be another source of revenue for COVIDX or for you, because at this point, there's a lot that you have told us, lots of insights, lots of tips that I believe anybody on this platform that wants to start a business, wants to do wants to really move, would really move. And if we don't move, it will be us to blame. So I would want to open up for a few questions. So if you have a question, you can unmute. Okay, I see Victor already wants to ask a question. So Victor, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, Professor Grant. That was really a wonderful dissemination. And thank you so much, Professor Joe, for organizing this and Avodah. My question, I'm going to be straight on point. So you talked about when you stepped out as a CEO. After stepping out as a CEO, how did you still keep control of the company and, for example, make the decisions easily to fire someone off? And then, because sometimes one of the reasons people fear to leave that role is because they fear that they will lose the control of the company and the whole direction. Thank you.
Okay, let's take another.
Yes, this is Samuel Beko Bakiro.
Okay, let's take Obakiro's question and then Anthony's question, and then Ogwang will answer. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Professor Joel, and congratulations to Professor Guang for this lecture. Actually, it is a serious one. I have 3 questions, but I may keep them to one. Listening to your story, it is a blend of an entrepreneur who was also working in a university setting like Obakiro himself. My question to you, how have you been able to transition from university operations into a private company? I wanted to pick that. Were there clashes? How did you go over them? My next one is on raw material source. And actually, what you have said is very, very important regarding identifying what you are going to invest in. Now, we happen to be using a plant Zansuzaeram caribium, and this region was our catchment area. But I've also learned that through your expansion of your programs, you have also gone there. So the relativity was very harsh for us. So if a plant has a root as the active part, what options do you have? Because right now we have reached a snag. I think let me step on that. Thank you very much, and leave others to ask.
Thank you very much. Can we have Anthony also asking his question?
Yes, Prof. Good evening, professors and colleagues on the call. Thanks, Professor Joel, for organizing the session. And thanks, Professor Gong, for opening up and telling your story. By listening to your story, we also get inspired, and we are encouraged to carry on from wherever we are on that same journey that you have taken. So, two things. One, the first one is a question. Prof said control most factors of production so that you have that much control of the processes and the outcomes. And then he said, formalize as early as possible. So my question comes on formalizing. Most times when you formalize your operations and even your company, you register, you get your TIN and all that stuff, you begin having those legal battles. So you go into legalities, so many legalities, so many things from the legal aspects. So Prof, how do you navigate these legal battles? There was even a legal battle about COVID around that time. That's money to somewhere from somewhere and somewhere. So how do you get around these legal battles? You talked about someone trying to substitute your product. That is also something more of a legal battle. So musicians can have a direct battle. They go and sing on the same stage and say who is better than who. But as an entrepreneur, how do you go around these legalities and these legal battles? Then the second one, just bearing witness to what Prof was saying. Prof was saying that at his company, Jenna, there's that work environment, that work ethic that makes everyone feel that urge to commit, to sacrifice for the company. Yeah, I've been there as an intern and for a short time, but still, you feel that attachment to the company, to the product, that you're somewhere in Bali and you see a Jenna product and you're like, you feel that association with the product. So the culture is really strong and it makes that person, either an intern, an employee, or a board member, feel like they feel that ownership, that attachment to the company, which I feel is true and is real good. Thanks, Prof, and thanks for the session.
Prof. Guang, over to you. You have a few questions here to answer from Victor to Bachiro and then Anthony.
I want to go to Dr. Bakiro's first question, transition from university to company. I don't get the other questions.
The other one is, I think they are using a route, and you talked about your preference now is easier to use leaves and seeds. So he was asking, in case you have your main part of the plant as a root, what advice would you give that person?
Okay. So let me begin with the one of the root. If you use the root as your active ingredient source, there's what we call sustainable harvesting. Sustainable harvesting means that you harvest that you don't destroy the plant. So what you do, because normally use the root back, you remove the soil, you read the roots, you remove only the back. Don't cut the woody part, and remove the back from only one side and cover it. It will again grow back. So that's what I use for sustaining the root. The back is like a skin. If your skin is removed, if small is removed, the skin will grow back. So that's one way it works for the roots. Even the stem, you can remove like a quarter and then cover it and it will grow again. And then the first question was control of the company. Now this is very, very important. When I brought in the new CEO, he had also his ways he wanted to run the company. For example, he did not want anyone close to me to be in the company. He actually tried to frustrate all those people who are close to me. I don't know why he was doing that. I think when I like to have some bit of control for himself. But for me, I interpreted it differently. I'm like, why does this man want to chase people who can tell me the truth? So that's how I managed to find him the first time. However, how I managed to control the company. Number one, I understand every process that takes place in my company. I made those products myself and I was selling in my small kitchen. I made them when I set up the factory in Akrite. So you cannot deceive me. I will know that this is this. So it's important that you understand the process in your company, that you can do them or you can explain somebody without somebody necessarily having to help you. So that's very important. Understand the process. You cannot deceive me that I use 2 kilograms of honey for a certain product. I know it cannot happen. And I can come and challenge and explain to you. So know your processes yourself. That's why it's good to develop your own formulas. If you own formulas, you understand it and you can correct it and challenge anything. The second thing that we have weekly meetings. We have weekly meeting online by Google Meet every Tuesday. We begin with prayer and the word of God. Then the department report what they are doing. The CEO reports what he has done. We discuss. We are going the way forward. So we every week, and they helped us that all the leaders meeting us, directors, CEO, managers, section managers, and other people who lead like sections. We are like around 20 point that group 20. So it means that every step of leadership understands what we have discussed, our direction of going. It makes work easy. Then have an open door policy. I can call anybody in the factory, whether a sweeper or a manager, and ask for information. And they tell me the truth. I learned that thing from President Museveni. Museveni, when he wants to find out something, he will call even the oldest woman in the village. He calls, let's say, one of the village to find out the truth. Then say that, now go and ask this person to tell me what you want. No, we'll call the person himself and get the truth. So learn to get information from your workers, all of them, managers, cleaners, sweepers. Find time to talk with them, and they will tell you how the company is moving. But also giving people room for creativity. I always don't interfere with people's work. I encourage them to be creative. I encourage them to be push themselves to do better. And that has helped us so much. But I think what's critical is what I said: love for the workers, make them feel they are just not there as hired hands, but they are part of the family. That makes them to work with a good direction. Then the issue of transition from the university to private sector. Now, by the time I went to university, I already began my company. I began the company in 2006. I went to Bar University in 2015. So the company was already there with its products, with its systems, but not popular. It became popular when now the COVID came in. But when I was at chemotherapeutics, I was running them parallel. I would work with government chemotherapeutics, but also have my company, which is operating away from my workplace. Maybe the only thing they can accuse me is that maybe I would use some of the government facilities to do some experiments, like now, chemical analysis, testing, yes. Then I can be accused for that. That maybe I would get information from where I was working and I apply it in my industry. But the question is, if you go to like one day there, we're like 15 workers. How come that it's only Guam who managed to steal this knowledge and use it separately? So maybe I'm not really a thief of knowledge for an institution, but perhaps what I do in the institution also translates elsewhere. But anyway, that's an important question. Try to separate your business from your workplace. Knowledge transfer is always difficult to control. If I come to a lab and I do something by university and I discover some knowledge, it's difficult to stop me from applying that knowledge in my company, unless that even if they are written agreement that you don't take knowledge from the university to your company. It's a difficult thing. I may say I've benefited from where I've worked to strengthen my company. And then control of this is on. I've already explained for the roots. I think there was an issue here of going. The person asked a question on control. Yeah, I think the issue of.
Yeah, there's a question of starting a company and starting it early. How do you navigate the issues of legal battles?
Yeah, now that is true. Once you register a company in Uganda now, especially these days, you start receiving demand notices from URA that pay taxes, send your returns. Those days it was not very serious, but these days they have linked URSB and URA. So once you register a company, they will definitely start sending you requests for taxes. But the other things I've learned is good to formalize. When you, for example, when COVID burst into the market, I already had a company registered. It became easy for government to support me. So they will go check in the registry that the company registered. But I was not like doing returns. No, they are supposed every year make returns. But that was quickly corrected, and then we became a formal company. But if I not registered a company, it would be difficult for me to get public support and even government support. So my advice is register a company, but to avoid legal battles, operate at a low level initially. Don't begin a high level. Like now, you get money, begin advertising, begin mass production, you will get serious challenges which may set you back. Begin quietly, begin slowly with the little money you have. Even if I had capital, a lot of money at the beginning, I will not invest it in massive production or advertising because I was still learning my products. Imagine if I had made 100,000 bottles, taken them to the market, and they all burst. You lose like 400 million in one batch. There you collapse completely. But because I was making it small, now there'll be a problem. It will affect a few people. As I kept on correcting it until now when I perfect it. So at this now I can say I can invest an amount of money because the products have stabilized, they're okay, there will be no problem. But at that early stage, if you put a lot of effort, you may lose it all because you're still learning about your company. I think that's all.
Thank you very much. Any other? We'll take maybe two more. Any other person with a question? Yes, Herbert Mabonga. I see your hand
Yes.
up.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Professor. Mine is not a question, it's an appreciation. It is actually what you are discussing is in line in the vision that I had. At one time, I was asking myself, why don't people who make herbal drugs not make it in powder and maybe make it in form of pills, tablets? But later, one gentleman explained why it doesn't happen easily. And today, I have had an opportunity again to hear from Professor who has explained it very well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is what I have to say. I have no question. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much, colleagues.
I was coughing. Now I applied my Covidex. I can answer without coughing. So the product works.
This is very good. You are like Edward Jenner who applied the vaccine on himself.
On himself.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Professor Guang. Thank you very much, everybody. As I said, we will try to make these talks regular. And I'm sure at some point we'll bring back Professor Guang because there are things he just passed over. But just to summarize, before I tell you what is cooking next, we've talked about legalizing. Please, if you want to start a business, legalize it. We shall also try to bring in some experts. URA is not our enemy. Sometimes it's just the way we deal with them that they actually become our enemy. Minimize expenditure. When you're starting, don't go to high scale. Try to work within your means. And if you are buying equipment, buy local, buy things that can be repaired locally. There are fabricators who can actually fabricate. I can attest to that. I have an extractor a boiler that has been made locally in Kampala. So there are people who can make. Sometimes you can even explain. There is even a group. I think there's a Rebitator here in Mbarara, where there's an engineering place you can go and explain, and they will try to make some stuff for you. A team, try to make a mix of a team, people you know, and some people that you don't know. Yeah, the place is called EDIC. It's in Rebitator in Mbarara. So make people you know, and the team is very crucial. And how you motivate that team also makes a very big difference. There was an issue of collaboration and understanding your niche. So you may be very good at production, but you're not good at marketing or even distribution. Know your strength and try to work with people who can do what you cannot do. So that is very, very important. That has come out. The other thing is the issue of the material that you are going to use. I think there are things that are easier to get and things that are more difficult to get. When I'm trying to make some formulations, I I look at how can I get this raw material? Is it something that is easier to get, or is it something that will be difficult to get? Because you can make a product that really works, but then the raw materials are very, very difficult to get. Another point that we take away from here is that sales grow systematically. Sales don't just rush unless there is a push like there was for Covidex, but usually sales grow organically, and you should allow them to grow organically because that's the way natural things happen. Be patient, but also plan for the growth. Don't run, but try to plan for that growth, because at the end of the day, it will be nice that you grow organically. The other one is about investors. Many times when your product starts to take off, people will want to put in money. But I like the advice that Professor Gwang has given us, that please, if people want to invest, let them invest in the marketing, because that's what you don't really know and that's what you don't do very well, instead of investing in what you are already doing, unless otherwise. We cannot talk more about the marketing bit. I believe that we shall get opportunity to speak to Ogwang again on that marketing. There was an issue of navigating. Okay, there is Mary asking a question. What of the products? There was Mary's question here. I think is asking about products that belong to the funder. I think we shall talk about that. Of course, the product, the IP, we shall find time to talk about IP, and believe that it's something that will be very important. Yeah, so I think we've tried to cover. The other one is continue doing R&D. Don't give up on R&D. Continue to develop your product. Every product is still in process until otherwise. So thank you very much. This audio will be available. You probably go to Avodah UG, Avodah UG, AVODAH UG on Facebook, on Twitter and other social media platforms. It will be available there. Soon we are unveiling a website, and so we shall be putting these materials also there. Next is January. We have managed to talk to Kazire of Kazire Herbal or Health Products. He will also come and talk to us about moving from idea to business. So you watch out for it. It's coming on from the 16th of January. We shall have Kazire speaking to us on how to move from an idea to business. As I said, in Avodah, we talk business. And that's the thing. We want to see people making money. You've heard of 3 billion made from a product. I mean, I've been working for many years. I don't think I could even talk about such money. But from a product, you can actually make the money. So, members, let's now watch out for that. In February, on Janan Loom's Day, we're also going to have a run. We're going to have a run. We called it the Avodah Run. And this one is to help us to raise resources to establish the Innovations Clinic at Avodah Park. We want to use this clinic to give seed grants to young people who have prototypes that they really want to move to the next level. We want to offer mentorship to young people, making sure that, some of the things that Professor Gwang has talked about, he had access to a lab that was able to help him, test his products, which many people may not have, but so we'll be able to provide that, provide you ability to find lab space, provide internet. These days, actually, you need a lot of internet to do your research and formulation. We also have a lab, a formulation lab, so you'll be able to formulate. And then the elephant that we need also to attack is marketing. So we want to have this run, and we hope that all of us here will be able to participate. We'll call upon Jenna to sponsor some runners in this run so that we're able to raise resources to support the young people to really bring ideas to the world. I believe that there are so many products that are buried in us that we can actually bring out. So we need to bring this out, and I hope and believe that, come the 16th of February, you will join us. I was supposed to show you the poster here. I'll send it out shortly after this, but please join us. We are going to charge very little money, about 30,000 for a kit, so that you are able to join. I hope Patrick will be able to support a number of Jenna people to come and run here in Mbarara. It's just 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and 10 kilometers. And it's a run for innovation. So thank you very much. And Patrick, somebody said that you will come and run. So I hope that, so Kazire has also agreed to come and be the chief runner, because we know for him he can run. So thank you very much, members. Avodah Innovations also conducts training. So we conduct training. We have a training in the second week of January that is geared towards helping those that have dissertations to be able to take them to manuscripts that are publishable. So we'll offer that support. We'll send you the information. And for people who want to learn how to formulate, you've heard that Professor Guang had to hire young people. Somebody is saying he can't wait to outrun Eliud. Eliud will be there seriously running. And so we want to support you to be able to formulate. So we are going to organize a formulation workshop at the end of January, so that you come in with some little money and you have like a whole week really learning how to do these formulations. You heard how Professor Guang was struggling with stability of a product that would be formulated and then it bursts, and it can be really a bad thing. So we want to get through those nitty-gritties. I have young people that have helped me formulate my own products that are currently with NDA, and others have actually been notified. They are going onto the market very soon. So the last week of January, we will conduct a formulation workshop, hands-on, and it's not free because it is business. If we give it to you free, I think it will not make a lot of impact in your life. So, but although it's business, we are not going to be very expensive. You can also get to us and tell us what else you want to hear. The email address for Avodah is avodaug@gmail.com. So you can get back to us, tell us how this talk has been and which other areas of business you would want to hear from us. Somebody has, there's just one message I want to read. Let me see. Before I close off the chat. Oops, where is it? I think I've failed to find it, but Francis Okello said, I don't know how many Jenna staff are here, but since I'm here, maybe the moderator can campaign so that Professor Guang can send me. So Professor Guang, you have had You already have somebody who
Yes,
wants to come and run.
Let him start, let him start
Yes,
practicing.
he starts to
Let him start
practice.
practicing. We go.
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much, members. We hope to meet again in February. And God bless you. And Professor Guang, may you get full recovery because we need you. This, what you've delivered, is very powerful, even for me personally. So thank you very much and see you.